We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Night Terror's Green Lantern, Issue 2. This is a two-part micro-series from DC Comics in 2023 that ties into the Night Terror's mini-series event. And this book features two stories. You've got the main story with Hal Jordan, and you've got the backup with Sinestro. The main story was written by Jeremy Adams, art by Eduardo Pansica, Jordi Tarragona, and Julio Ferreira, colors by Luis Gurrero, letters by Dave Sharpe. Assistant editor Jillian Grant, edited by Paul Kaminsky. And the backup, Sinestro's story, was written by Alex Segura, art by Mario Foccillo, colors by Prasao Rao, Pressy, letters by Dave Sharpe, assistant editor Jillian Grant, edited by Paul Kaminsky. So Parallax is after Hal Jordan, but Hal's not putting up with this nonsense anymore. He knows something's not quite right and these aren't the real people, and he's had about enough. So he does exactly what Hal Jordan would do and pushes back. And he begins to chase the nightmare creatures around because they're not about to escape him. He even quotes the oath and says, "Guess he hasn't heard about the no evil shall escape my sight thing." And he proceeds to taunt the nightmare creature mercilessly because the things that were presented to him were not nightmares as Hal Jordan saw them. They were choices and times in his life when he had to make pivotal decisions. Remember, Hal Jordan is largely a man without fear. So he actually goes on the offensive, which is probably the first one of these books where I've seen them actually turn the tables on the nightmare and not be led by the nightmare. And it was actually really, really compelling and interesting. And it was a fun book. There was a lot of action and adventure and Hal Jordan being a hero. He even does some Army of Darkness stuff. So if you haven't seen Army of Darkness, there's definitely an homage to it in here with the chainsaw and the gun. So it's good to know that Hal Jordan has good movie taste, I guess. The Sinestro story was a whole different ballgame. Sinestro is attacked by these two variations of himself, and they sort of argue with each other more than anything. And it's really just setting up the return of Sinestro. It really doesn't even seem like he's in a nightmare. It just seems like he's having some self-doubt, and he's just manifesting some inner conflict he's having. I thought that was actually really boring. The art is definitely weaker than the main story, which the main story had some really, really great panels. Great perspective shots, and some really comically fun situations, but there was a lot of really good professionally looking panels in this book, and I thought that the art was absolutely a step up. The cover's fantastic. That is an awesome cover, but it tells you nothing about what's going on in the book, and I think that actually hurts the book because you have no clue what they're talking about. You just see this glowing skeleton, and you would think that it has something to do with the time Hal Jordan was the Spectre, but it doesn't at all. And really, that scene doesn't even happen in the book. It's a cool image, and I'm sure they were just like, draw something Halloween themed, but it doesn't really work. The art in the Sinestro book is definitely more inferior. I think Sinestro looks like he has like weird jowls very often. I know it's supposed to be like lines on his face from like age or something, but it just makes him look kind of freaky at times. Also, the surreal factor of it is masked by the fact that there's not a lot of backgrounds. They're using lightning effects to conceal the fact that it's just stars in the background. So while I'm sure it took a long time to draw the monsters, it really looks a little lazy that there's no background imagery for most of that story. But I just didn't care for the Sinestro story. I was bored with it, but the main story definitely made up for it. I thought that was a lot of fun, and I'm going to recommend this. This two-parter was probably the best one that I've read so far out of all of the Night Terrors micro-series. Not just because the hero turns the table on the bad guy, but because it's probably the most comic book oriented. It actually has something to do with the Night Terror story because Hal's going to be in Night's End apparently, but it was also showing the hero overcoming what is presented to him by his enemy, and he's taking a lot of joy in turning the tables on the bad guy. It was just a fun read, and I highly recommend these. If you're reading the Green Lantern series, issue 2 leads into Night Terror's Green Lantern number 1, and if you're enjoying that series, don't skip over these. I think you'll have fun reading them. So a strong recommendation on this two-parter. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one.